Oh yes, it's Nick Shell. I talk about receding hairlines and hair loss, and I'm positive about it. I give people hope, but yet I'm realistic. That's why people keep coming back. Is there anyone else on YouTube who is as positive as I am about hair loss? I don't know, maybe, but I don't know who they are yet. And if they do exist, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to get you to do, you know, some kind of way to save your hair. That's what sets me apart. It's toasted. So here's what I want to talk officially about, and I've definitely mentioned this in other videos, and sort of in passing, but I really want to talk about this concept of breaking the bald ceiling of Hollywood, of entertainment, of music. I want to remind you, because I think we all, and me included, I think we all need to be reminded of the disproportion, would that be the right word, of men with hair, full heads of hair, in entertainment versus those here in the real world. I mean, I'm age 35 and a half. Most guys I know are experiencing at least some hair loss by this point. Yet you turn on TV and the only guys that seem to experience hair loss are more supporting characters. Maybe if you watch some kind of, you know, one of those many murder shows, there'll be the less interesting guy that's just kind of the supporting character. But the lead guy's always got to have hair, right? Unless you're part of the cast of Fast and Furious, then it's almost expected that you have a shaved head. That's sort of an exception to the rule. But there's definitely a disproportionate amount. Now, in the past, I've compared women being overweight to men losing hair, and saying that in some ways that may be the most equal comparison I can do. The problem with that, of course, is you can lose weight. You can change your diet. You can exercise. You can lose weight. I've done it. I've lost like 27 pounds at one point in my life. So I know how that is. But if you're a man, you can't naturally just make some lifestyle changes and your hair grow back. You can't start exercising and eating right and automatically your hair just starts growing in. It doesn't work that way. So we have to do more extreme things to get hair, you know, whether it's some kind of surgery or whatnot, or put chemicals on our hair that may have side effects, or in our head. I don't want my brain fried by all that. That's me. I'm crazy though, right? So what we have to remind ourselves though, just like with women, they have to do this. Women have to remind themselves that not everyone's going to look as beautiful as, you name the celebrity. Let's just say Natalie Portman. It's funny. Here's what I've noticed about Natalie Portman, who's Jewish, by the way. Something I've noticed about her is I feel that guys collectively all know that she's a very beautiful woman. But when girls talk about who they think is supposed to be this beautiful, they never mention Natalie Portman. They mention, I don't know, someone who looks more like Barbie. But I think that's interesting. I mean, everyone has their own taste, but women, girls compare themselves to the Barbie-looking models, the 5'10", I guess like Taylor Swift, basically. I don't know. But either way, they're having to remind themselves that in the real world, most people don't have the body type of Barbie or whoever we want to name in that category that females compare themselves to as sort of the gold standard on that. So they're having, it's so hypocritical, really, that there's these magazines that say, just be who you are, accept who you are, and then you've only got these perfectly beautiful women on there with the perfect body types and all this stuff. And so it's that mixed message. So they've got that to deal with. But meanwhile, as men, what do we have to deal with? The same thing. Whoa! I have been walking on the side of that the whole time, and I already slipped right before I started this video. So what do we have to deal with instead? What do we have to remind ourselves? We have to remind ourselves that in the real world, most men are experiencing hair loss at a much greater rate than what we see on TV. It's not that often that you'll see a leading man with a shaved head, and if you do, he's the exception to the rule. It's just so, and like I said, there's that video on Mojo, like the top 10 men who are losing their hair, and it's like, I'm almost at the point now, I just really feel that most men probably did have some kind of thing done on their hair. Like, for example, no one's ever confirmed this, but I want to throw this out there. Ashton Kutcher, who's about 3 years older than me. I remember in the movie Butterfly Effect, and that was what, 2004? And his hairline went up about, not as high as mine, but it went up high in that movie. He has long hair in that movie, and there's at one point he's in the wheelchair, and it shows. And suddenly I never see that high hairline anymore. Even at the end of that 70s show, it was showing. Because I was thinking, here's a guy a couple years older than me. This is a decade ago, or over a decade ago, and I thought, I'll always have the same hairline as him because he's about my age and we already have a similar hairline. I thought that back in 2005. But in recent years, it doesn't seem that his hairline is going up to the same degree as mine. Another example that's not well documented, Tom Cruise. I mean, he's in his 50s. And if you watch one of my favorite war movies, Born on the 4th of July, in that movie, he would have been, what, in his, I guess he would have been in his late 20s or at that point. And also, he's in a wheelchair in that movie, just like Ashton Kutcher. But in that movie, you can clearly see, he also has long hair in that movie at one point. And you can see it goes up pretty high. And that was, what, 1987 that movie was made? Well, now you can look at Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible where he's got a buzz cut. And it's like pretty much straight across the hairline. So it's like we're allowing ourselves to believe that these guys have full heads of hair, but they've had stuff done. And I feel at this point it's a matter of finding those who actually haven't. Like, I really feel that way. Like, I do think Tony Danza, I think that's his real hair. I think Anthony Bourdain, I think that's his real hair. And just like in my office, I mean, there's guys that are older than me that have more hair than I do, but that's not as common as you see on TV. So I just want, and even Bono, somebody mentioned Bono. Yeah, I mean, I can look at older pictures where his hairline goes up higher and now suddenly it's more cropped. So I'm like, okay, I get it now. I'm accepting that is something that is not real. It's not real. Just like with models being airbrushed for magazines. It's that way on TV. These guys, if their career depends on it, they're getting these procedures done. Now, as for me, breaking the baldness of Hollywood, breaking the bald ceiling of Hollywood or entertainment, whatever, you know, yeah, I would love to have a career in entertainment. I think ultimately, the reason, if I don't make it big in entertainment and do that for a living, I think the reason won't have anything to do with my hair, whether I had just a receding hairline or thinning hair, or if I shave my head. I think it's not about that for me. What it's actually about is that I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm married and have 2 kids and a full-time job. So I think that's the reason. I can't, I'm not just going to move out to Los Angeles and start waiting tables and start going to all these auditions. That's the reason I'm not going to make it. So therefore, what do I have to depend on? A 35-and-a-half-year-old guy who's married with 2 kids and has a real job? YouTube channel. I'm like, at this point, if I can do something that spawns from this, that would be cool. And whatever, you never know what opportunities might pop up. So that's what we're looking at. But absolutely, you can break the mold. You can still be in entertainment with a shaved head. It's not as common, but especially if you own it and that's your thing. I mean, even Jason Statham, what's interesting about the way he shaves his head is while he is, I mean, based on every picture I've seen, it's like it comes way back here as far as his hair loss, but he doesn't completely shave it like Vin Diesel. He actually, it almost looks like it's like a #1 or something. So it's like, man, and look at him, and he's considered sexy and attractive and masculine and all these things. So I just think that because society is now accepting the natural baldness of men and them shaving their heads, I think that's paving a way for bald men in entertainment in a non-intimidating way. Now, someone had mentioned too that it's different if you're white. Now, granted, the concept is if you're white, life is easier, especially if you're a white man. And Louis C.K. has a thing how there's no offensive word you can call a white man. Nothing will actually hurt him. But I think one of the trade-offs is it appears that white men lose their hair quicker. But like, for example, like if I see a black guy with a shaved head, he looks good. It's just a given. He looks good with a shaved head. And so some might say, well, it's harder for a white guy with a shaved head because then, if nothing else, he looks more intimidating, or he looks like a skinhead or something. Whereas if you're black and have a shaved head, You just look cool. And I could see that. But you know what? I can overcome all of that. And anyone can. I believe anyone can overcome, break the bald ceiling of Hollywood. If you've got the charisma, if you've got the talent, you can do it with or without hair. I firmly believe that. It takes more confidence, perhaps, just like Larry David said, the writer of Seinfeld. He talks about how any man can be confident with a full head of hair, but take away his hair and then what? So, yeah, you might have to depend more on your talent and your confidence, but for a guy like me, I'm not worried about that. I think I've got enough talent to get somewhere, but more so I've got confidence. Fake it till you make it. So that is my lecture on breaking the bald ceiling of Hollywood and entertainment and music or whatever it is. You can still make it. People can still make it. Being bald, it's okay. Things are changing now. Thank you, Vin Diesel. I want to thank Vin Diesel. I think he really, when I think back in college, he made that cool. I think that movie. So thank you for Vin Diesel for what you've done. And now Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Thank you for doing what you do. My name is Nick Shell, and it appears I'm obsessed with losing my hair, but really, I think it's just an engaging conversation. So that's why we talk about it. This is a long video. This felt good to do this again instead of doing the short ones. So leave any comments you have, but I think we have to really truly embrace this truth that it's fake. It's fake. You're seeing guys with hair on TV and movies. It's fake. I mean, it may be the real hair, but it's hair from back here that's up here. In the real world, most of us don't do that. We don't have to. And I'm grateful that I don't have to do that for my life to be better. But if I wanted to, if I wanted to make it in entertainment, if I really wanted to, I could do it without hair. Anybody could, with enough talent and confidence. I'm Nick Shell. I talk about hair loss on the internet, receding hairline guy, the internet hair loss guy, whatever you want to call me. Thank you for watching my video.